You're biased 90% of the time. This is a fact. Our brains are wired to overlook our own flaws, like a gentle hum in the background that we've grown accustomed to, a constant reminder that we're not as perfect as we think we are. But what if your biggest blind spot is something you think you're good at? You might be surprised, taken aback by the realization that your perception of yourself is not entirely accurate. Let's explore this concept, shall we? It's called blind spot bias, a psychological phenomenon that explains why we tend to recognize flaws in others, but not in ourselves. This can lead to poor decision-making, strained relationships, and a whole lot of unnecessary stress. Imagine yourself in a conversation with a friend, discussing a sensitive topic. You're convinced that you're being objective, that your point of view is the only rational one, but are you really? Or are you just ignoring the flaws in your own argument, while highlighting the shortcomings in your friend's perspective? This is what blind spot bias looks like, a subtle yet pervasive influence that shapes our interactions with others. By acknowledging and addressing our blind spots, we can become more self-aware, more empathetic, and more effective in our relationships. We can learn to listen more deeply, to consider alternative viewpoints, and to respond more thoughtfully. Think about it. When was the last time you caught yourself being biased? Probably never, right? That's the problem. We're not even aware of our own biases, like a blind spot in our rearview mirror that we can't see, no matter how hard we try. But what if you could change that? What if you could become more aware of your thoughts and actions, more mindful of the subtle influences that shape your decisions? It would be life-changing, a profound shift in perspective that could transform the way you interact with others. Imagine being able to make better decisions, to weigh the pros and cons more objectively, to consider multiple viewpoints before reaching a conclusion. Imagine being able to build stronger relationships, to communicate more effectively, to resolve conflicts more efficiently. It's possible, but it requires a willingness to confront our own biases, to acknowledge the flaws in our thinking. It's not always easy, of course. It takes courage, humility, and a willingness to learn, but the payoff is worth it, a deeper understanding of ourselves and others that can lead to greater empathy, compassion, and understanding. So, how can you do that? First, you need to be willing to admit that you're biased. This is the hardest part, the first step on a journey of self-discovery that can be both challenging and rewarding. It's not easy to admit that we're wrong or flawed, that our perceptions are incomplete or inaccurate. But it's necessary, a crucial step towards greater self-awareness and personal growth. Once you've admitted that, you can start to work on becoming more self-aware. This means paying attention to your thoughts and actions, being honest with yourself, and being open to feedback from others. It's not always easy, of course. There will be moments when you feel defensive, when you want to push back against the idea that you're biased or flawed. But it's in those moments that you need to take a deep breath, to pause and reflect on your thoughts and actions. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What am I trying to protect? Be honest with yourself, and you'll begin to see the subtle patterns and biases that shape your thinking. It's a process, a journey of self-discovery that takes time, patience, and effort. But the payoff is worth it, a deeper understanding of yourself and others that can lead to greater empathy, compassion, and understanding. So, take an honest look at your own biases and flaws. It might be uncomfortable, like staring into a mirror that reflects back an imperfect image. But it's necessary, a crucial step towards greater self-awareness and personal growth. You owe it to yourself to become the best version of yourself, to strive for greater empathy, compassion, and understanding. Don't let blind spot bias hold you back. like an anchor that's weighing you down. Take control of your thoughts and actions, and start making positive changes in your life. You can do it, one small step at a time. It's time to take the first step, to acknowledge your blind spots and start working on becoming a better version of yourself. You're biased 90% of the time, but you can change that. You can become more self-aware, more empathetic, and more effective in your relationships. It starts with admitting that you're biased, and then being honest with yourself and open to feedback from others. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. By becoming more self-aware, you can make better decisions, build stronger relationships, and become a better version of yourself. So, what are you waiting for? Take the first step today, and start becoming more self-aware. Start making positive changes in your life, one small step at a time. You got this, the power to overcome blind spot bias and become the best version of yourself.